Yo YouTube, welcome to another video on the TWT channel. Today we are watching 20 inventors that were killed by their own inventions. This is gonna be good. Hopefully it's some cool invention. Hopefully it's something that we can use. Well, after their death, something that we use or can use, or I don't know. But hopefully we get surprised. Let's see, man. Ocean Gate?
Ocean Gate.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
At some point, safety just is pure waste. I mean, if you just want to be safe, don't get out of bed, don't get in your car, don't do anything.
Bro, I don't understand why you would even want to be in this small ass thing. Like, you don't feel claustrophobic?
Bro, it was like, how many people in there? Like 6 people?
6 people in this little ass thing? You stupid. I ain't gonna lie. I just gotta say it, bro. You kind of dumb to put yourself under this. And the man, he invented this with an Xbox controller.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at the most tragic instances in which creators of certain products lost their lives, either directly or indirectly, as a result of their own inventions.
Because of this tragic accident that some people believe that Mustang might be cursed, he has locally the nickname Lucifer.
Abu Nasser el-Johari, Wooden Wings. Born in the city of Otrar, now in Kazakhstan, Abu Nasser el-Johari is best remembered for his work in lexicography and for authoring an Arabic dictionary that became widely used in the medieval era. But el-Johari wasn't just a wordsmith. He also had a serious fascination with flight. Inspired by the wings of birds, he does.
Nigga, they talking about Icarus?
I don't know.
You know, the kid that made wings to go see his daddy?
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Designed a wooden glider and became convinced that his prototype would grant him the ability to fly. In order to demonstrate this, el-Johari took his pair of wooden wings and climbed up the roof of a mosque in Nishapur, in modern-day Iran. Unfortunately, when he jumped, his wings failed to cooperate, and he tragically fell to his death. Sabin Arnold von Sakaki, luminescent paint. In 1908, Austrian scientist Dr. Sabin Arnold von Sakaki developed the luminescent paint, which contained the highly radioactive element radium. After moving to the U.S., he founded the United States Radium Corporation, churning out glow-in-the-dark paint for wristwatches, clocks, and aircraft instruments. However, this company soon found itself glowing for all the wrong reasons. Workers started falling sick and dying from radium poisoning, which led to a flurry of lawsuits. The hazardous effects of the luminescent paint were not limited to the factory floor, however, as it also crept up to the man at the top. Due to being exposed to his own radioactive invention, von Sakaki developed aplastic anemia and died in November 1928. Michael Robert Dacre, Avson Jet Pod. British aviation entrepreneur Michael Robert Dacre had a dream to create a smaller, quieter aircraft for quick and affordable flights between major cities. He called it the Jet Pod. This plane was designed to fly at lower altitudes and only needed minimal runway space for takeoff and landing. However, in August 2009, tragedy struck during a test flight in Malaysia. According to eyewitnesses, the entrepreneur had struggled to get the prototype off the ground, only managing to do so on his 4th attempt. Sadly, once in the air, the jet pod reportedly took a sharp veer to the left before crashing to the ground and killing Dacre, who was the sole individual on board.
Damn.
Aurel Vlaicu, a Vlaicu 2
Hey, people were smart enough not to get in that shit with him. They said, this don't look right, man. He said, no, I got it. Bam! That was probably because it was lower altitude. You know, the winds, no good, but...
airplane. Throughout his life, Romanian engineer Aurel Vlaicu designed and built 3 airplanes and 1 glider. His second airplane, the A Vlaicu 2, brought him a lot of renown, winning prizes at aviation competitions and successfully completing several demonstration flights. But the same aircraft also led to his demise. On September 13th, 1913, Vlaicu attempted to fly across the Carpathian Mountains with the A Vlaicu 2, aiming to be the first person to do so. However, the aircraft encountered problems during landing and crashed in the mountainous range, killing Vlaicu instantly. Although he failed to achieve this record, Vlaicu is still celebrated as a national hero in Romania for his contributions to aviation. Karel Suchek, shock-absorbent barrel. Canadian stuntman Karel Suchek was a legend, even among his fellow daredevils. He gained notoriety in 1984 by going over Niagara Falls in a self-constructed barrel.
Carol Suchek went over Niagara's Horseshoe Falls in a specially designed barrel. The 37-year-old Hamilton, Ontario motorcycle stuntman estimated that with the 3 to 4 second drop over the 175-foot
This
fall,
don't even look fun
he hit
to
the
watch,
water
my
below
nigga.
at about 75
Oh!
miles an hour.
This barrel was heavily padded, and Suchek claimed it could withstand the shock of such a massive drop. In 1985, he put his invention to the test again, this time with a 180-foot drop from the top of the Houston Astrodome. Even the iconic Evel Knievel advised Suchek against it, but he wouldn't back down. The plan was to drop him into a water tank to break his fall. However, the barrel struck the rim of the tank, causing severe injuries to his head.
Oh!
This went wrong.
They ain't aim. They ain't aim good enough. It's like aiming for the. It's like putting the thing back in, man. You aimed in the wrong hole. Shit done, man. You know.
Head, chest, and
Shit
abdomen.
done.
He
Shit
had a
over
choice
with.
when it came to what he was going to do with his life, and I'm very sad about it. He was a personal friend of mine.
Suchek died shortly after at the hospital. Henry Smolinski, the AVE Mizar flying car. In the 20th century, many sci-fi movies predicted that flying cars would be the norm someday. Aeronautic engineer Henry Smolinski was determined to make that fantasy a reality. In 1973, Smolinski unveiled the AVE Mizar, which combined the wings of a Cessna Skymaster with a Ford Pinto's body and was designed to fly and drive. Smolinski believed this innovation would revolutionize transportation, but tragically, it cost him his life. During a test flight in September 1973, the Mizar's wing failed when Smolinski tried to make a turn. As a result, it crashed to the ground, killing Smolinski and his co-founder Harold Blake. This marked the end of the AVE Mizar, having never completed a single successful flight. Luis Jimenez, Blue Mustang sculpture. If you've ever been to Denver International Airport, you've probably seen the massive horse sculpture located just outside the facility. This is Blue Mustang, a fiberglass masterpiece created by graphic artist Luis Jimenez.
I'm still working in a very traditional process. The materials are somewhat different, but the process is all pretty much the process that's been used for centuries.
Sadly, Jimenez never had the opportunity to see the piece get unveiled on February 11, 2008. That's because in June 2006, while working on Blue Mustang, a large section of the sculpture fell from a hoist and pinned him against a steel support beam. This accident severed an artery in his leg, tragically causing him to bleed out on the floor of his studio in Hondo, New Mexico. The sculpture was completed after Jimenez's death and stands as a symbol of his incredible talent.
He's got work in the Met, in the Smithsonian. He's one of the leaders in contemporary sculpture.
William Nelson, motorized bicycle. Back in 1903, William Nelson was a promising 24-year-old inventor who worked with General Electric in Schenectady, New York. Nelson had come up with some pretty innovative designs, one of which was a motor attachment for a regular bicycle. He likely envisioned that this would make cycling a lot easier for riders. On October 3rd of that year, the young inventor took his prototype out for a spin around a hill opposite his father-in-law's home. However, that would prove to be his last ride. During his test run, Nelson fell from the motorized bicycle and died on the spot. Otto Lilienthal, glider. German engineer Otto Lilienthal always dreamt of flying. In 1891, he made that dream a reality. After years of studying bird flight, Lilienthal used his research to develop a glider, which he used to take to the skies. Over time, he continuously tweaked his design, completing over 2,000 successful flights. This achievement earned him global recognition as the father of flight, but it eventually came at the ultimate price. While in the air on August 9, 1896, Lilienthal's glider stalled, causing him to fall 15 meters or almost 50 feet to the ground. He broke his neck as a result and passed away the following day. Despite his untimely death, Lilienthal's groundbreaking work inspired the Wright brothers to build the world's first successful airplane.
That's what I was
Louis
talking about, the Wright
Slotin,
brothers.
plutonium core. After training as a physicist and chemist, Canadian scientist Louis Slotin became a research associate at the University of Chicago in 1937. Later, he joined the top-secret Manhattan Project, helping to create the atomic bombs used in World War II. Slotin focused on developing the plutonium sphere known as the Demon Core, which was initially intended for a third nuclear strike on Japan before their surrender. On May 21st, 1946, after the war had ended, Slotin was demonstrating a procedure on the Demon Core when his screwdriver slipped, triggering a burst of hard radiation.
Oh, brother.
Of everyone in the room, Slotin was hit the hardest. He was rushed to the hospital, where he died 9 days later. Sylvester H. Roper, the Roper
with a
steam
screwdriver.
velocipede. Born in Francistown, New Hampshire,
Got killed by that?
Sylvester H. Roper was a trailblazer when it
jumped
came to the
off.
subject of motor vehicles, and more specifically, motorcycles and automobiles. Roper created what is often considered one of the first motorcycles, the Roper steam velocipede. It was while riding this steam-powered land vehicle in 1896
Somebody
that spectators noticed Roper
was all
wobbling
that
upon it
nigga.
at a considerable 40 miles per hour, only for him to fall off and suffer a head wound following several laps. He was found dead at the scene, with an autopsy
He probably
revealing
would've
heart
lived.
failure as the cause of death.
Feels like
Though
better.
whether his loss of balance was a catalyst for the stress on his heart or if his heart failed prior to the crash is
They ain't have
unknown.
none.
Horace Lawson Hunley, hand-cranked submarine. During the
Give you
American
water,
Civil War,
that's it.
Horace Lawson Hunley served as a Confederate Marine engineer, and he invented various forms of hand-powered submarines to use in battle against Union troops. Unfortunately, during a routine exercise
hell
in
no.
1863, one of his submarines took on too much water and sank,
No.
killing all men inside, including Hunley. This submarine, called the H.L. Hunley
gotta-
after its
gotta
inventor, was
crank it
eventually
just
raised
for
and
it to
became
work?
the first sub to sink an enemy
No, I'm
vessel
not
in
getting
naval
inside.
history. So at least his
All
death
men
wasn't
in there gotta
completely
work.
in vain.
Yeah.
Henry Winstonley, Eddystone
No,
Lighthouse. This
I'm
English
good.
painter and
Hey,
engineer had
forearm's gonna be bigger than a mug though. You gonna come out like these. You gonna
Yeah,
come out.
you ain't coming out at all. They ain't come out, bro.
You ain't gonna come out. He said you ain't gonna come out. That's funny. All right, let's
Ain't come out, brother.
Henry Winstonley, Eddystone Lighthouse. This English painter and engineer had such a thing for mechanical and hydraulic gadgets that most of the county of Essex knew about it. He indulged in this fascination by ensuring he was always surrounded by mechanisms that he designed and constructed, and the Eddystone Lighthouse was no exception. After becoming a merchant and losing 2 ships on the Eddystone Rocks, Henry Winstonley had the lighthouse built with lavish decorations and a glass lantern room in 1696. However,
Low-key
his
look
death
hard.
is perhaps proof that you must think before you speak. In 1703, after previously proclaiming his wish to witness the greatest storm there ever was from inside of it, the Great Storm of southern England destroyed the lighthouse and killed him along with it. Max Failure, rocket-powered
That's-
car. Automobile inventions are definitely at the forefront of accidental deaths, taking the lives of Fred Duesenberg, Henry Smolinski, Francis Edgar Stanley, and
That's them
Valerian
cartoon
Abakovsky,
cars,
just to
boy.
name a few. Max Failur's self-named Failure
No
Highland
safety.
Rock
You
7 was
flying
the
straight
first
out.
successful rocket
It was
car to
like
run
back
with
then,
liquid propulsion.
safety wasn't
Unfortunately,
even a
that
thing for
liquid
them,
was
man.
alcohol-based, and
Good.
less than a month after
Good.
his successful Rock 7
Good,
run,
good.
while making tests for
No
a rocket
rearview mirrors,
engine, a
nothing.
canister of it exploded on his workbench in Berlin. Failure was killed within minutes on that day
Canister?
in 1930. Today, he is remembered as one of the brilliant individuals who helped pave the way for spaceflight. Jean-François Pilatre de Rosier, Rosière balloon. Considered one of the first trailblazers of aviation, Jean-François
Hot air
Pilatre de
balloon.
Rosier was a notable French physics and
Yes.
chemistry teacher. De Rosier is perhaps best known as the man who made the first manned free balloon flight, along with the Marquis d'Arlande. Unfortunately, his ambition got the best of him, and he crashed while attempting to fly his Rosière balloon across the English Channel in 1785.
brother.
The hydrogen hot air balloon deflated in midair, and he and his companion fell 1,500 feet to their deaths. The crash gave these men the distinction of becoming some of the first fatalities of an air crash.
even crashed in
William
the water.
Bullock, Webb Rotary Press. While Richard March Hoe invented the rotary printing press in 1843, William Bullock made numerous additions to it and made it his own. This included automatic paper feeding rather than laborious paper pushing. Unfortunately, his additions proved his demise, as he kicked a driving belt onto a pulley of his Webb rotary press and got his leg stuck, which eventually
Oh! You think about that, boy? Nigga just should just.
led to gangrene. He finally died during an operation to amputate his leg a few days later. Thomas Midgley Jr., pulley system. Thomas Midgley Jr. was a renowned chemist and mechanical engineer, perhaps best known for his involvement with the addition of a compound known as tetraethyllead or TEL to gasoline. After a successful career, Midgley Jr. was diagnosed with poliomyelitis, a disease that left him bedridden and unable to move. As a solution to his problems, he devised a complex pulley system that would help others lift him out of bed. This genius invention unfortunately led to his death in 1940, as he was ultimately strangled by its strings. Franz Reichelt, parachute suit. Franz Reichelt was a trailblazer of aviation safety, most famous for his ill-advised jump off Paris's Eiffel Tower in order to test his full-body parachute in 1912. After numerous unsuccessful tests from his apartment using a dummy, Reichelt decided to test a parachute he designed and refined himself. And what better way to do that than by jumping from the Eiffel Tower?
You should have threw a dummy again. Why? Why?
He chose to throw himself.
He said, if it don't work this time, just kill me.
After multiple attempts to dissuade him, a hesitant Reichelt jumped and landed square on his face on the icy Paris ground. He died on the scene, even though spectators rushed him to the hospital. Stockton Rush, OceanGate's Titan submersible. In 2009, Stockton Rush founded OceanGate, aiming to make deep-sea travel accessible to the public.
Sort of don't like the term tours. This is really about exploration. It's an expedition to survey the wreck, and we have a number of individuals that can come out as mission specialists to assist.
Throughout 2021 and 2022, OceanGate organized several trips to the wreck of the Titanic with their submersible Titan at a steep price of $250,000 per person. For the first expedition of 2023, the Titan carried 3 tourists, 1 crew member, and Rush himself as the pilot. However, nearly 2 hours after departing, the submersible lost contact with its mothership and was never heard from again. It was later determined that it had imploded during descent, instantly killing everyone on board.
The unthinkable became all too real this past week as we learned of the fate of undersea explorer Stockton Rush's Titan submersible on its way to the Atlantic grave of the Titanic.
Ironically, the Titanic, whose wreckage they sought to explore, also claimed the life of its designer Thomas Andrews Jr. when it sank on April 15th, 1912.
But it really
Before we
wasn't
continue,
his fault.
be sure to subscribe
It
to
was
our
an
channel
iceberg.
and ring
It
the
was
bell
the
to get
fucking-
notified.
Fucking ship, the captain. Don't know where he going. Went straight into an iceberg.
Video.
Yeah, that's the end of the video, man. A lot of these things we use, but shit, it was a lot
The
of people.
majority was about planes, aviation. So.
Yeah, a lot of a lot of smart guys, but they just want to play in the air, man. They don't know about gravity. That gravity can do something. But that was the end of the video. We'll catch you on the next one.